Good morning, everybody. Honorable Ministers, dear President of Wageningen University and Research, representatives of the European Union and representatives of the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, dear partners from this project, dear colleagues and dear friends. My name is Rick van den Bos. I'm the director of ISRIC World Soil Information, and we are the initiator and consortium partner of this project. I welcome you warmly to the launch event of this project called Land Soil Crop Information Services for Climate Smart Agriculture in East Africa. We started preparing this project in 2018, so we have come a really long way. And it has not always been an easy process, but many people have persevered with us in preparing this project, and we are really excited that we are here today to launch this program. Today we will hear from various speakers from the three countries where this project is implemented, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Rwanda. As well as from the funders of this work, the European Union and the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But before that, before we will hear more about the project in the course of this program, we would like to invite Professor Dr. Louise Fresco, President of the Wageningen University and Research, to give some introductory remarks. I'm really happy, Louise, that you can be with us here today. I know your schedule is busy, and I also know that you have to leave pretty soon after your remarks. So the floor is yours, Louise.
Thank you very much, Rick. Distinguished delegates, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends. What a great pleasure it is to sit here and to welcome you to something which I think has been in the making much longer than just 2018. I think all the way from the time I, even as a young PhD student, was involved in thinking about soils and lands and crops, we've always wanted to have a real data system, a real way of sharing results, of sharing information, of sharing experiences, and coupling that with data, with capacity building, and do exactly what this project is going to do. So it's really like a dream coming through, and I think that's a very, very important step in the way we collaborate. As you know, Wageningen has a very long-standing relationship with your three countries, and I myself remember as even a young student, we were supposed to study the soil maps of East Africa very, very carefully, and many of us went and did fieldwork in the region because it's so interesting, so diverse, and so very important for food security. I think this is one of the things in which Wageningen is very strong as an institution, is to work with local capacities, local farmers, local institutions, to really try and improve food security, to try to improve sustainable production, and get really the best out of the land and the soils for the best crops, and in the end, the best welfare. And I think this is something that all of you also with me believe in very strongly. So it's a great pleasure to see so many of you and to know that we will collaborate, that this is not the beginning. It is not, because, as I said, we have been in touch for so long, but it's also not a project that will end by the time its funding is over. It's a project that's an ongoing dialogue, if you want. It's an ongoing way of being together on this very, very important subject. And I think it's only by deepening our conversation and continuing a dialogue about what our data means, how we can share it, that we can really make a difference. That's why the network approach of this project is so very important. And I also want to say a few words to our funding agencies, because I think this is exactly the kind of funding we would need, not we as an institution in Wageningen, but we really as mankind, to have these long-term collaborations, to work together to build on capacities that exist, to get new generations interested in soils, in land, in agriculture, and build a new generation of people who really understand that food security is all about sustainability. It's all about climate mitigation as well as climate adaptation, and also about biodiversity. Those are not necessarily entirely new concepts, but to put them into practice and share how we do it, share the best practices and learn from one another, I think is a very exciting thing. So I think your funding is going to be really crucial, but also I see it as a promise for continuing work that has such deep roots, but also needs to continue. In many ways, the soil is often the last part that people think about, and land is often only seen as landscape. And it's by combining landscape, crops, and animals, by the way, with the detailed soil and weather information that we can really drive sustainability. Sustainability is not just about good practices, it's about good practices underpinned by good data. So I'm really excited about this project, and it's really in the heart of what we feel Wageningen is important. In Wageningen is important because it also involves so many disciplines, and that's interdisciplinarity, I think, is exactly what we need. So I wish you good luck, not just today with your exchanges, but also with the project. As I said, this is important to Wageningen and also to me personally, and I really would love to see the results. And I hope, Rick, you and your staff will reach out to me afterwards and tell me what you've learned today. So to all of you, good luck, have an exciting project, and let's make a difference in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Louise, Professor Fresco.
Louise,
yeah, I know, for highlighting the importance of a solid layer of data under all these activities that we are trying to set up in getting to a more sustainable agricultural system. And also thank you for highlighting the importance of the network and of the prolonged donor of the way the donors are financing us. If you can hang in for a little longer, there will be a short video explaining a little bit more about the project. So thanks one more time. Emily, can you start the video?
In East Africa, the land suffers under climate change. This threatens food security for a growing population. But there are ways to make the soil more resilient, to innovate in agricultural systems, and to produce food in a more sustainable way. To find the way, we need data. We want to bring together all available data on land, soil, and crops into national information hubs to empower farmers, extension agents, researchers, NGOs, agribusinesses, and local and national governments to future-proof food production systems and support the rural transformation that is needed. Data supports decisions that create change.
Thank you. Okay, that was a very brief glimpse of what this project is about. You'll hear more over the course of this event. Maybe it's nice to mention that this project is part of a family of projects funded through the European Union DESIRA program. And that DESIRA stands for Development of Smart Innovations Through Research in Agriculture. And this project is not only funded by the DESIRA program, but also by the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and with a very small contribution by my own organization, ISRIC World Soil Information. The next two speakers are representing the two main funders of this program. And I would like to move on to Astrid Mastenbroek. She is Senior Policy Advisor, Food and Nutrition at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in the Netherlands. And she has recorded a statement and explaining the envisaged outcomes of this project. Hamadi, can you play the video?
Honorable Minister, Professor Fresco, colleagues at the delegation and at the embassies in Rwanda, Ethiopia and Kenya, esteemed guests, good morning. My name is Astrid Mastenbroek. I'm the Senior Policy Officer Food and Nutrition Security at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the Netherlands. It's my pleasure to join you today in the launch of the Land, Soil, Crop Hubs program. This program is implemented under the European Union framework for climate-relevant development of smart innovation through research in agriculture, the ISRIC. It's funded by the European Delegation, the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, with a contribution from ISRIC, the World Soil Information. We are very happy with this collaboration of Wageningen University and Research, ISRIC, the International Livestock Research Institute, and the national partners in Ethiopia, Kenya, and Rwanda. Our current food system is under threat by humans and the planet. The system needs transformation. To achieve this transformation, the world agreed to come together in 2015 to support 17 Sustainable Development Goals. One of these Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 2, addresses ending malnutrition and increasing productivity and income of small-scale food producers, amongst others. This SDG is leading our food security policy from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. By 2030, we aim to support increased productivity of 8 million small-scale farmers, as well as increased sustainable land use. This Land, Soil, Crop Hubs program will be an important program to contribute towards this transition. This project combines many types of data about land, about soil and about crops that together form a good information system for small-scale farmers and national service providers. We are very happy that this program is implemented by the National Agricultural Institutes in Ethiopia, Rwanda and Kenya, particularly the Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research, the Kenyan Agricultural and Livestock Research Institute and the Rwandan Agricultural Board. So working with these institutes to create land, soil and crop information services that address the need of the constituency in the different countries will be crucial to the success of this program. This collaborative project adds value to what the institutes are already doing by developing data-driven solutions and services to small-scale food producers and other service providers. And it will be tailored to the needs in the different countries. As such, it may result into more tailor-made fertilizer application or other innovative solutions towards sustainable agricultural intensification. So food systems are only as sustainable as the ecosystems that carry these food systems. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands supports the development of national pathways towards resilient, inclusive and sustainable national food systems. These pathways are embodied in national systems, including the National Agricultural Research Institutes, and we are therefore also very happy to contribute through this project to strengthening these pathways. So investment in agriculture needs to be based on current, past, but also projected future changes in climate. Data-driven tools for on land, soil and crop information systems will be really important to drive this intensification process forward in a sustainable manner. On behalf of the Ministry of the Netherlands and my colleagues at the embassies in Kenya, Rwanda and Ethiopia, we wish you all the best in the coming years to implement this project, and we are looking forward to see positive results. I wish you an enjoyable day today at the launch, and I wish you all the success.
Unmute, Rick.
Sorry. Thank you, Astrid. I know you're in the audience today, and I would like to thank you for that wonderful statement and explaining how this project fits in the policy priorities of the ministry. But I would also like to thank you for your help during the preparation of this project. You've been really helping us to get this project in good shape and to adjust it to all the policy priorities of the ministry. Okay, our next speaker represents the main funder of this program, the European Union. And Stephen Wathome is with the Agriculture, Job Creation and Resilience section of the delegation of the European Union in Kenya. And we are grateful to his team for helping us to coordinate between the partners in East Africa. They have actively developed the links between different DESIRA projects in the region. And they are also the mission from which the East African DESIRA projects are coordinated and signed. Mr. Wathome, can I invite you to take the floor?
Okay, absolutely. And thank you. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Information remains a key facet in not only development work, but in all our day-to-day engagements and interactions. It is through information sharing that livelihoods are sustained and improved. It is also through information sharing that challenges are addressed and problems resolved. Land, crop, and soil are the core of agriculture and food security, and understanding the nature of the land, the soil, and the crop-soil relationships is vital. It is now evident more than ever before that land, soil, and crops have over the years been subjected to various kinds of transformation. This transformation has posed a situation whereby close monitoring and action is imperative. A situation where access to information on the status and what needs to be done is crucial. And this is what this program is all about. This program will facilitate the exchange of knowledge and information between farmers, knowledge organizations, private sector, and policymakers, and as a result, also enhance the effectiveness of national agriculture, knowledge, and innovation systems in East Africa. This will ultimately contribute to rural transformation and climate-smart agricultural practice in East Africa. It is worth noting that the EU invests considerably in research and capacity building in the field of sustainable intensification and data management in Africa. Apart from this program being properly embedded in the current EU strategy for cooperation with Africa, this action also supports the Africa-Europe agenda for rural transformation. This action contributes to the EU's ambition to help devise strategies for reducing emissions and contribute to the development of national adaptation plans. Why this program is also important for the EU is that it will contribute to the key strategic pertinent aspects of digital transformation, research and innovation, partnership on food and nutrition security, and sustainable agriculture. Further, it is important to note that under the Team Europe approach, the two Team Europe initiatives we have chosen for Kenya, for example, are inclusive digitalization and Green Deal, which are well covered in this program. We wish you all the best as you implement this program. Let us all strive to ensure that all goes as planned. Based on our lessons drawn from the COVID pandemic, business continuation plans and strategies are of essence. And we can conclude that COVID has indeed opened our eyes, and we're going to roll out programs more efficiently now and in the future. Thank you very much and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wathome, for those words and for explaining how this project fits well with the EU policies, how it contributes to the digital innovation agenda of the EU and the African Union, but also for highlighting, again, the importance of the knowledge and the information on the landscape to boost climate smart agriculture or sustainable agriculture. So thanks for those words. Now we have heard from the main funders of the program, and we will move on to listen to statements from high-level representatives from countries where this project is implemented, Ethiopia and Kenya. And let's start with Ethiopia. The next speaker is representing His Excellency Professor Eyasu Elias, State Minister of Natural Resource Management in Ethiopia. Professor Eyasu could not make it today, but he's represented by Dr. Aweke Mulualem, and he is advisor to the State Minister, and he will explain to us what this project can achieve in Ethiopia. Dr. Aweke, the floor is yours.
Good morning. My name is Aweke, as you rightly pronounce it. I'm actually giving this small remark representing His Excellency Professor Eyasu Elias, because he's outside Addis Ababa for an official mission. He's in the southern part of Ethiopia for almost a week, and he wanted actually to apologize to you for not being able to make this remark. Saying this, I would like to start my remark with mentioning some dignitaries. Professor Dr. Louise Fresco, President Wageningen University and Research, Rick van der Bosch, Director ISRIC, Astrid Mastenbroek, Senior Policy Advisor, Food and Nutrition, the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Stephen Matobi, Agriculture, Job Creation and Resilience Section, Delegation of the European Union in Kenya. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is really a great pleasure and honor for me to be here to provide some opening remarks for the official launching ceremony of the Land, Soil, Crop Information Service project to support climate smart agriculture with a spirit of high recognition accorded to the digital agriculture data hub building, which is the new frontier that could help ensure agriculture meets the needs of the growing population in the future. In Ethiopia, agriculture is a dominant sector of the economy, representing over 6% of the nation's GDP, engaging almost 70% of the labor force, contributing 80% of all exporters. Therefore, Ethiopian agriculture drives Ethiopian economy for obvious reasons. First, ensuring food security for the growing population is difficult without the substantial growth in agricultural production. Secondly, the Ethiopian agriculture continues to be the sole provider of raw materials for the growing industries in the coming years. And thirdly, the strong positive interaction between Ethiopian agriculture and the economy-wide sector growth implies that there is no shortcut for Ethiopia's economic transformation without addressing the agriculture sector. In the pursuit of this economic transformation, however, Ethiopian agriculture confronts inevitable challenges as manifested through climate change and variability, soil fertility depletion and soil erosion, resulting in huge yield gaps, thus undermining the national effort to attain food and nutrition security of the projected around 138 million citizens of the country by 2030. We are also well aware that such a huge development need cannot be achieved in a business as usual way of doing things, whereas the capacity to make informed decisions by majority of the society is limited in the country. Although large amount of land, crop, and soil-related data have been collected by research and development institutions over the years, there have mostly been limitations on the capacity for systemic archiving, analysis, and use of the available data for informed decisions. In this regard, the Ethiopian government is committed to support initiatives that build standard national data hub infrastructure that also employ the digitally enabled data analytics along with human capacity development to sustainably use the system. This is clearly outlined in the 10 years prospective development plan and the sectoral strategies. The strategies outline that the framework within which different programs will implement their identified priority interventions, and in which building a digital database, managing and sharing takes a front seat. Linked with the current project, the land soil crop information is not adequately used in our agricultural decision-making, mainly owing to its scarcity and non-digitalized form for easy access. Therefore, researchers and experts working for development support institutions who are working at national and local levels, including smallholder farmers, are not well positioned to exercise climate smart practices. This implies the importance of automation of the processes using digitally enabled approach, while at the same time moving away from a manually collected data to a state in which real-time insights and predictive capabilities can be provided. Further, such integrated data from land, soil, and crop, coupled with farmers' data, field sensors, and remotely sensed data, fueled by analytical capabilities, will enable near real-time and predict information dissemination to our end users. Ladies and gentlemen, for Ethiopia, there are 4 compelling reasons to adopt digital agriculture. One is, it's important to increasing agriculture output more than double of the current levels of production over the next decades to meet growing demand and achieve food and nutrition sovereignty in the country. Second, digital agriculture increases farmers' productivity and income, and job creation for the over 70% of Ethiopian population, which is below 35 years old, that need to adopt modern farming. As you know, the current agriculture is not attractive for the youth. So it is important to make our agriculture attractive for the youth. And more than 90% of the farmers are smallholders in our country. Thus, these farmers are ready to benefit from the promising smart farming. In this regard, the project we are now shortly launching will start with the safe assumption that soil, land, crop information supports climate smart agriculture policies, plans, and practices through strengthening the ongoing agricultural data hubs, building in agricultural research institutions, and contributors to rural transformation in the country. For us, establishing strong partnerships and networking with regional and international development support communities is the best way out in building the capacity for our key role players and ensuring quality and efficient service provision. In this regard, I highly appreciate the collaborative model that's being put in place by the Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research, ISRIC, Wageningen Research, and ILRI toward the successful preparation of this important project in Ethiopia. The lessons to be learned through this project will enhance the growing movement in Ethiopia around agriculture data hub building to achieve our planned national goals and objectives through capacity building to promote greater investment knowledge sharing, and partnership building. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, I would like to confirm that the Ethiopian government in general and the Ministry of Agriculture in particular is committed to support the implementation as part of the effort to operationalize digital agriculture extension and advisory services in Ethiopia and sustain the building big data system, database system to be used for research and extension systems. Before I conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the EU, the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and ISRIC for funding this project. With this, I would like to declare the Land, Soil, and Crop Information Service project is officially launched from the Ethiopian side. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Aweke, for those beautiful words and for highlighting the importance of this project for the rural transformation and the transformation of the agricultural sector in Ethiopia, and also the fit with the national policies in your country. We know a lot of things have already been done in Ethiopia, and we know that you invested a lot in digital agriculture. So we hope that this project can give this process an additional push in Ethiopia. So thanks for that. I would like to move on to the second speaker in this section of the program. The next speaker is Professor Hamadi Boga. He is Principal Secretary of State Department for Crop Development and Agricultural Research in Kenya. And Professor Boga is very well connected to the CG centers and is also well informed about the domain of this work. And Professor Boga, I hope you will explain to us the importance of this work for Kenya. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, Zoom is unable to detect my camera, but you can hear me. Let me acknowledge all the stakeholders and the partners that are in this meeting. And just to say that we appreciate the support of the partners towards this project, which is vital for the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperatives in Kenya. And agriculture is key to our economy. Most of our GDP hinges on agriculture and associated services. But agriculture faces a number of challenges, majorly land fragmentation and landscape degradation, which impacts on soil. And over the years, of course, we have relied heavily on input subsidy programs that have employed the use of fertilizer in farms, which have led to soil acidity. And because of human activities and landscape degradation, this has led to a lot of soil erosion. And data on soils is scarce. The average farmer does not carry out any soil testing. Most government entities also rarely carry out soil testing because of resource limitations. The smallholder farmer, who is the major farmer in terms of the volume that they produce, they are almost 80 to 90% of the farming community. And these are the ones who struggle either to access knowledge and information or to even do good agricultural practices, including how to manage the soil. So the result of this is that we have seen a decline in productivity, even in some of the most high potential areas. We have seen increased soil acidity, even in some of the areas where we could get yields of up to 40 bags per acre, declining to almost 15 or 17 thereabout. The farmers struggling to maintain the soils in an organized manner. But our goals as the government of Kenya is, of course, to increase food production in a sustainable manner. And we have the goals that have been set under the CARDIP process. And we have the goals also that have been set under the Big Four agenda of His Excellency the President, one of which is 100% food nutrition security. And so apart from the threats to these goals that come from a very unpredictable climate, there is also the challenges of soil, which is not able to sustain productivity. The last time we actually did the soil map, soil analysis, which was done by KALRO, was I think in 1996. That's when we have a comprehensive data analysis of our soils. Recently, there have been efforts by crop nuts to map some of the areas where there's a lot of agricultural activity, especially in central Kenya and parts of western. And I think on the website of crop nuts, we have some of the data that they have been able to generate. But we know that if we have to address the challenge of productivity, then it is important that we address the challenges of the soil, and a knowledge system or an information system like this available to policymakers, available to county governments, available to the farming communities is important for decision making at all those different levels, and especially is important for any restoration activities to take place. So I really applaud this project, and it fits very well within our strategy, the agriculture sector transformation and growth strategy, which seeks to support smallholder farmers to improve their incomes. They can only do so if they work with the soil in a manner that is sustainable and retain soil fertility and soil health. And our strategy also seeks to grow our agriculture. That means the opening of more areas for agricultural activities in a sustainable manner and investing in agro-processing. Our strategy also seeks to build to build the resilience of households. And I think also the resilience will come when we have healthy soils. And for all the interventions in these three key areas, it requires a lot of information for decision-making processes. And this strategy is anchored on three enablers. One enabler is capacity building. And I think some of the information that will be generated in this project and that will be made available through this project is key and important for developing capacity building programs within the counties, within the ministry, and also with other institutions. But also very key is research, data, and digitization as an enabler. And I think this project is one aspect of digitization and harnessing of information to support agricultural activities in the country. We have launched a digitization in agriculture strategy, and one of the pillars or anchors of that digitization strategy was to look at developing a land optimization model, which would mean looking at soils and what they can support and which value chains can be developed in which kind of soils, and also mapping underground resources for water, for irrigation. So I think this project is coming at an opportune time. It supports our agriculture sector and transformation growth strategy. It intervenes in a very critical and sensitive area of soil, and hopefully it will help us to who empower Kenyan farmers, especially the smallholders, to work on the soil in a sustainable manner and to embrace conservation agriculture. I've moved around, I've seen a few smallholder farmers who have embraced conservation agriculture, and the results are inspiring. I've also seen some large-scale farmers, wheat farmers mostly, or those who are doing fodder crops, who have embraced conservation agriculture, and you can see the carbon, the soil structure, and the soil health is good in their farms, and that means they can't suffer crop loss. The soils are able to retain moisture, which is the biggest problem most of the time. So I would like to acknowledge everyone and to appreciate all the efforts. I think the key thing to this, learning from other projects, is to mainstream the availability and the maintenance of this data beyond the projects. Most of the time we come up with good projects, but if we don't plan for sustainability and mainstreaming, then in the end, you find when you want to access data from the project after a year or two, you find you can't reach it. And we have seen even the open data platform, which started sometimes back, it's becoming a challenge because then people have moved on, but succession planning sometimes is a challenge. And as a ministry, those who are working in this project, they should really think very much about this. And KALRO, as our knowledge institution in the agriculture sector, I think the investments that have been made in KALRO with regards to big data should help us to secure this. Soil information, agro-weather information, pest information, and all other bits and pieces of information that are required for decision making. Otherwise, I hope also through this, our organizations will grow in their capacity to handle some of these topics. I know we are faced by the challenge of retiring soil scientists. I think very few, and the young people don't want to come and study soil science. So we can also think about how to use this project to interest young people into soil science. And the fact that there's the information side and digitization side should make it interesting for some of the young people in our universities. I thank you and appreciate the opportunity to share. And thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Professor Boga, for highlighting these important aspects. You highlighted the problems in Kenya with declining soil fertility, declining increase in acidity, decreasing yields. But you also indicated the fit of this program with the transformation and growth strategy of the government of Kenya. But I think it's also very important that you highlight capacity building, which is part and parcel of this program, and the sustainability, because what you described is very recognizable. When projects stop, often the results disappear after a period of time, and we truly hope that we can overcome that problem in this project. There's a deliberate activity to develop a sustainability plan for the results of this project. So thanks for those statements, and we hope we will not disappoint you in this project, and we will work hard. Let me see what is next. So we were planning to have a little break here, and I think we're going to do that. I would like to see if there are some questions from the audience to the speakers at this point in time. I don't see any in the chat. After the break, we will have a short break here of 15 minutes to allow you to stretch your legs, to take a cup of coffee. And then we will enter into a more interactive part of the program. So then you will be able to ask questions and to intervene with the speakers. So I suggest that we resume at 10 o'clock European time and 12 o'clock East African time. So take some time to relax, and see you in 14 minutes. Hello, everybody. It's 10 o'clock. We'd like to resume the meeting. Thanks for all staying with us. And during the break, I was thinking about these statements that we just heard. And for me, at least, it's really motivating to hear how well this project fits with the high-level priorities in the countries, at least in Kenya and Ethiopia, but also with the donors. So for me, that was a motivating and inspiring feedback to our project. But it also gives pressure to deliver. But I'm happy that we have a good team. And we move on to a short presentation about the project. Very short, there's much more information on the website. But before we go there, I saw there was a question in the chat for Professor Boga. Professor Boga, I hope you're still with us. The question comes from Aweke from ICRAF. And she asked, could you highlight existing programs implemented by the government of Kenya that relate or connect to this project? Professor Boga, are you still with us? Oh, I have to apologize to Lee that I didn't see this question earlier because Professor Boga has left the meeting, so he cannot answer. Well, thanks, Lee, for asking that question, and there will be more opportunity to ask questions during the rest of the program. Let me move on. I will present a couple of slides on this project. Let me mute. Okay. If you're not speaking, please mute your microphones. That helps us. Yes, thank you. I see a couple of people unmuted. Please mute your microphones. I will start sharing my screen in a minute. Is this visible, Emily?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Land, soil, and crop information services to support climate smart agriculture. Okay, this has been said a couple of times, funded by the European Union Dechasa program, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Netherlands, and a small part from ISRIC World Soil Information. The project partners are the Kenya Agricultural, Livestock and Research Organization in Kenya, the Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research, and the Rwanda Agricultural Board. They are the main implementers of this program, supported by Wageningen University Research, ISRIC World Soil Information, and the International Livestock Research Institute. And we have a couple of service providers or subcontractors connected to this program. They have not been mentioned so far. ICRAF, World Agroforestry, the German Aerospace Center, DLR, ASRIC, and the International Union for Conservation of Nature. And these service providers, they will help us with specific tasks that are within the realm of what they are doing. And I'm happy to see that representatives of these organizations are also in this meeting. So welcome to all of you. Well, the goal of the project is to develop sustainable land, soil, and crop information services at national agricultural research organizations to contribute to rural transformation in East Africa. And all this is done to inform decision-making for the implementation of climate smart agriculture. So why would we do that? Well, basically, we have to scale climate smart agricultural technologies to about 60 million farmers in Africa in the next decade or so to reach the Sustainable Development Goals. It is basically the challenge that we have if we want to reach those goals. And as has been highlighted also by previous speakers, land, soil, and crop information is needed to design policies and to guide and scale interventions for climate smart agriculture. And what is often the problem with data? It was already touched upon by Professor Boga, for instance. You know, so often these data sources, they are outdated or partly outdated. Often they are fragmented. They are often incomparable because different people were measuring with different equipment, with different methodologies. They are not always easily achievable, and often they cannot easily be combined with other data types. We call it interoperability. So if this is the case, something is needed to make those data fair. Fair is the word: findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. And that is what this project is about, to make existing data fair in order to make them actionable. And of course, what we're also going to do is to combine those data on land, soil, and crop with other data and information services. I'll get back to that. So how will this project contribute? We will further develop the national information services on LSC, land, soil, crop, in Kenya, Rwanda, and Ethiopia. And the word further is important here because, of course, a lot of things have been done already in those countries. So here is the chance to work a little bit further on those initiatives, to push it yet another step further with the partners in this project. I want to emphasize we're not going to do something new, we're going to build on what is already there. Another thing is that we are going to ensure operational connection with other information services, such as climate services. If you only have information on climate, you know, it's only part of the story. If you only have information on land, soil, crop, it's part of the story. You know, the users, the policymakers, they want the full story. So these things need to be connected to each other in an operational manner. And that's what we are going to do. But of course, we will start with a needs assessment at different levels in the different countries, because the situation in Kenya, Rwanda, and Ethiopia is very different. So we need to tailor our approaches to the needs and the possibilities in the three countries. And then, as has been said, we will develop and implement a sustainability strategy for the developed services. What we don't want is to build something that ceases to exist when the project ends. This needs to have sustainability, and we will do our best to develop a proper sustainability strategy. And of course, the national partners are key in this sustainability strategy. So a couple of important strategic aspects of the project we will align with and build on ongoing initiatives. We will bring together supply and demand for LSC information services. So we will have close contact with the anticipated users of the information. We will have a flexible approach depending on the needs and the possibilities in the three different countries. The anticipated users will participate in the development, and including young and women farmers. There's a separate activity, a dedicated activity that works with farmers and discovers with the farmers how they can use this kind of information, but also how this information should be presented to them in order to make it useful for them. We will focus on interoperability with other information services. Capacity building. Capacity building is an important part, especially capacity building for the information providers, so the colleagues at the 3 institutes. We will define sustainability plans. And something that has not been mentioned, the focus now is on Ethiopia, Kenya, and Rwanda, but we will also develop and include a strategy how we can upscale this approach to the entire region. So we will not just focus on these 3 countries, but also see how this methodology can be made applicable to other countries as well. A couple of synergies. Of course, we know that in Ethiopia, Rwanda, and Kenya, a lot of information has already been gathered, especially on soils. We know the EthioSys program in Ethiopia, the currently running RASIS program in Rwanda, and the tremendous amount of work that has been done over the past decades by the Kenya Soil Survey. So those are the things that we will start from. But then there are other synergies. For instance, the Ethiopian Digital Agro Climate Advisory Platform, which is an advisory service to improve crop management decisions for climate smart agriculture. And it's important to understand the land, the soil, and the crops in order to make decisions on climate smart agriculture, but especially to scale up. You need to know what can be done best where in the landscape. And for that kind of decisions, we need to have information on that landscape. There's another important program, ICRA, Accelerating Impact of CG Climate Research for Africa. This program is enhancing access to climate information services and validate and scale climate smart agricultural technologies. So again, this program that we are talking about today, the Land, Soil, Crop Information Services, can provide information for ICRA to boost their impact. Another option or another example is the SERVIR program by NASA, aiming at the development of innovative solutions to improve resilience and sustainable resource management in various parts of Africa. And again, here, our focus on land, soil, and crop, our deliberate focus on land, soil, and crop, and our aim to develop information services on the landscape can help the SERVIR program to have more impact. Of course, there are also synergies with ongoing or just starting other DESIRA programs. For instance, the ESAP program is about Earth observation for climate smart transformation of, in this case, agropastoral systems in East Africa. There's another program with a abbreviation that I don't try to pronounce, that is too complicated for me, but it's about climate smart innovations for agropastoral systems in ASAL regions in Kenya, in the arid and semi-arid lands. And again, here, for both programs, we can say that our project can deliver basic information service that can help them to increase their impact. The last one is Prosilience, which is co-funded by GIZ and DESIRA, also focusing on sustainable transformation and food systems in Ethiopia and Kenya. These programs are all regional and covering the countries that we are also covering. And also this program can benefit from the results of our project. So I've highlighted a couple of synergies, and there are more. There are more projects funded by the embassies in the various countries, but these are just a couple of examples that show how this project can have impact, but also it shows on which activities we are going to build and on which shoulders we are going to stand. I'm not going to explain here how we are going to work. That information is available on the website, and you can always reach out to us through that website or through our emails to understand better how we are going to work. For this moment, I would stick with a short explanation, why we are doing this project and how it can have impact. I'll stop here and I'll open the floor to some questions which can be put in the chat. There's one remark from Alain Ndoli about improving resilience for farmers and livelihoods. Is that one of the projects that I just mentioned? Can you come in, Alain Ndoli?
Yes, thanks very much. I didn't see our project on the list, so I just pasted in the box to say that we can really connect, because we are also doing agroforestry research in almost half of the country of Rwanda. And in case also the information generated through our Dechasa project can feed the hubs, we would appreciate. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ndoli. I don't know why this one was not on my list. Maybe it was not even on our radar, but now it is. So thanks a lot for making that connection. And we'll certainly reach out to you in a later stage. There's a remark from Elias from ICRAF. Yes, Elias, there are more projects on the radar. We hope that we can develop synergies, and we know where we can find you and Elias to work together. Irene, thanks, Rick. Can you explain a bit more how you are envisaged translating the data to be accessible to farmers and actually serving their needs? Well, that is an important question. We've been debating this for a long time. Most of the data by nature are not directly applicable at farm level because they are simply not detailed enough, accurate enough, and the resolution of those data is not enough to have enough significance at field level. But we still wanted to research this. There's always the problem that if you design information service at a national level, the nature of the data does not allow to apply it on field level. And this time we wanted to make a step further, and that's why we have a separate work package dealing with farmers and farmers groups and asking them and working with them on how we can make this data in one way or the other also of direct benefit for them, not just through policies or through landscape level analysis, but directly to them. So this is a bit of a research part. And we hope we can give you clear answers, Irene, when we are a little bit further down the road. I'm answering all these questions, but maybe I can also pass one or two questions on to my colleague. Andre, can you answer the question of Nigussi Robi?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I mean, the question is if the project only focuses on compiling over the existing data, or does it also generate new data and or update obsolete ones? This, of course, is going to be in our focus, and we have a close look. On the one hand, we start with the data that's already there. And we will do a gap assessment as to what data can be used and what data can be cannot be used, and that will depend on what the different user groups will require for their decision making and the models that drive that. So we will work on both. On the one hand, assess what is already there, assess the gaps, and also look forward to what additional data is required. However, we do not have a big emphasis on creating large new data sets, because that will move us away from creating the impact with the data that's already there.
Okay.
There is another, I hope that answers the question from Nigussi Robi. Let me move on with the next question. What's the duration of the project? As it stands now, the project is will be running till the end of 2024. So that is 3 years from today, and we are already 1 year moving to get all the preparations to get started.
Yeah.
It's 4 years.
Thank you, Andre, and sorry for not introducing you before you started talking. It's I think important to introduce you to the group. Andre Kooijman is a senior project manager at ISRIC, and he will coordinate the project from a more content point of view with the partners in the various countries. The project is also managed by Wageningen University. That is a bit more on the operational and financial and contractual side. So we have divided those tasks. But when it comes to the content, Andre will be in touch with you. So thanks, Andre, for answering those questions. And I see a message from Tino Johansson from Helsinki, who is leading the ESSA program. And thanks for that support. We will definitely reach out to you. We will be able to find you. And don't hesitate to reach out to us, by the way. Okay, I'm looking at my colleagues. There are no other questions in the chat. So that means I think that we can move on for now. I would like to encourage everybody to interact with us through the chat. There is time and space for that. Let me go back to the program on my computer. So we will move on now to 4 contributions by the various partners in this project. This is actually the last block in this program. So we have 4 partners in the region in Africa, and they will all explain to us how this project will have significance for them and how they see this project. And I would like to start with ILRI, the International Livestock and Research Institute, represented by Dr. Dawit Solomon. Dr. Dawit is a regional program leader at ILRI, and also closely connected to the ICRA program that I just mentioned a minute ago. Dawit, thank you for being with us. And even more, thank you for having stayed with us. You've been with us from the very, very beginning, and that was not always easy. And we have gone a winding road, but you've stayed with us, and that is highly appreciated. And your input in this project will be crucial. So, Dawit, I think you will highlight how this project links to other CG initiatives, either in the past or current or in the future. So thanks, and take your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rick. So let me put the presentation. Would you be able to see the presentation?
Absolutely.
All right. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak at the launching event, and I really appreciate that on behalf of 1CJR. So this project is about linking the land, soil, and crop data hub, and what I'm going to talk about is how do we see linkage and synergies with new and existing Africa-wide 1CJR initiatives. There are so many of these initiatives, and I think it's very, very difficult to choose and talk about each of these things. But what I decided to do was choose one big initiative, which is funded in the range of 60 million USD and focuses on the private sector, on the public sector, and another one which again is focused at a relatively bigger amount and focuses on a more private sector. So if you see, the first one is accelerating the impact of CGIAR climate research for Africa. So these are products which have been developed by CGIAR as well as its partners, and how do we accelerate, their impact in Africa? And then the second one is more of a climate resilient agribusiness project, which is again supported by the Dutch government and brings almost the same partners here: SNV, Wageningen, ILRI, AgriTerra, Rabo partnership, and all that, but really focusing on the private sector. And I've combined, the approach by Bosch and present to you what we are doing within this. Just to see the geographical focus of these projects, there are 3 agroecological zones in Africa which are covered by these projects, and these are considered as hotspots or the most vulnerable when it comes to climate change. This includes the Western and Sahelian part of Africa. It includes Eastern Africa dry lands to the highlands. And again, the countries are listed there just as examples. And we are also looking at, the Southern African dry lands. The key thing here, as Rick highlighted, is cross-border, cross-regional spillovers and South-South as well as South-South-North learnings. Linkage are expected in this project. So ECOWAS, IGAD, SADC regions are covered. So if I see this projects, what I really see is this projects that the commonalities are knowledge generation and sharing, and this is an integral part of the current project which we are launching. If you see the other areas, strengthening partnership for delivery, whatever product that we are developing, there needs to be a strong partnership or innovative partnership with our national partners, well aligned with their priorities and policies, and be able to deliver through our national partners. And the third and the most important thing is, yes, we're working on validating and facilitating climate information services and climate smart innovations through piloting. And how do we work with our partners? How do we build their capacity? And how do we facilitate, this efforts which partners are accomplishing? So if I just summarize these things under, let's say, the first component, knowledge generation, technology, and service sharing, what the number of things come to my mind. The key when it comes to this, or the most relevant one, is the work that we are doing together with our national and international development partners in the area of integrated national ag data hubs. If you see Kenya has done a wonderful work in the area of the ag observatorium. Ethiopia has done a tremendous work in the areas of bringing together data, and Rick has mentioned EDICA. Same thing with Rwanda. So how do we really bring climate, weather, soil, crop, livestock, and other information together and make this thing, generate the data, translate the data, develop content, develop last mile connectivity and feedback mechanisms. And I see clearly a significant role that this project can play when it comes to this. We're working on national ag, supporting national ag extension systems and strengthening them through digitally enabled solutions. You use that data, and what do you do with it? You generate tailored early warning systems, climate information services, climate informed digital advisories for priority crops and livestock systems. And as such, this project have a tremendous role to play, contextualizing and validating our constraints and policy options for broad-scale CIS, as well as ag advisory and climate smart agriculture adoption, and are also other areas. So in the areas of knowledge sharing, I do see a very good opportunity for this project to play in this regard. The second thing is partnership and capacity for delivery. Rick has clearly highlighted, the partners all the way from the funders to the different local organizations. And as such, really, really important to work with partners for delivery. Here, if we see our beneficiaries, extension agents, input providers, farmers, we need to build their capacity. We work in the area of climate as part of really ECRA as well as crafts, and the option there is how do we bring next generation weather forecasting options and tools to these African countries? How do we generate data? How do we visualize it? How do we archive it? How do we automate it on automation? Those are things that we're working together with our African partners. There's another thing, National Framework for Climate Services. Ethiopia has done a wonderful work in really developing and also endorsing sectorally. 5 or 6 sectors came together. We recently took that one together with WMO Africa as well as WMO Global, IGAD, SADC, and a number of African, almost 10 African countries. And we're trying to build this thing and aligning it to the regional as well as to the global framework so that we can streamline climate information services and our advisory. A number of Africa-wide initiatives are also being informed by some of the works that we do around this. So this project has a role to play. The last one is technology promotion and delivery and inclusive access. Gender is critical, so everything that we do needs to be inclusive, and it should also respond to, you know, the women as well as use economic empowerment opportunities. And as such, I do see a wonderful role that this project can play when it comes to providing these hubs so that they become innovation hubs for the development of decision support tools. So again, scaling strategies, increasing access to climate information services, AG advisories, national policy and strategy development. These are the areas that I see as important. If I just summarize the project components and subcomponents of the 2 projects that I've highlighted, AG Data Hub, strengthening digital climate advisories, building capacity, development of new or strengthening existing national frameworks, identifying climate and gender and socially inclusive climate smart information service and CSA package, prioritization, and of course, digitally enabled climate smart options. These are the things which come to my mind, and this is where I see this current project can play a significant role. So again, I've been talking about partnership. If you see, we work at the regional level, at the national level, and many of these organizations, which I have mentioned here, are integrated. If I wanted to give an example of Ethiopia, for example, you see, if you look at the public sector, National Meteorological Agency, Ministry of Agriculture, Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research, ATA, RARIS, the Climate Change Commission, the former, universities and others, private sector, NGOs, international development organizations and research, or the REXs can also play a significant role and can be aligned, and this project can support many of these things. What I wanted to leave you was the words that recently one Ethiopian minister highlighted at a very high level summit. What they said is, in Africa or in sub-Saharan Africa, we feel that there is a good enabling environment when it comes to national AG data hub infrastructure development for the development of climate-informed digital services. Sub-Saharan African countries feel that there is a good enabling environment in terms of policy and investment. Our colleagues have highlighted, countries have a keen interest. Digital climate and ag advisory services have a role to play to increase agri-food systems resilience and support millions of smallholder farmers. Again, our hub can play a significant role here. African governments are committed and invested significantly to provide farmers with information through digital means. This is again important because it builds resilience. And as such, I'm so happy to see that my former alma mater, which is Wageningen University, all the way from higher officials to the support which we have received from the Dutch government. We all are trained in the Netherlands, and we are contributing to this thing together with ISRIC, Wageningen, and others. But African countries also feel that despite these efforts and improvements in technology, most initiatives lack scale and numerous infrastructure and capacity-related challenges are there. So we need to really work on that. More investment in the areas of digital and climate-informed ag advisories, both from the public and private sector, is needed. And last but not least, whatever we do, we need to align our efforts and work under national partners. These are designated partners, and we need to work with Ethiopian partners, and under them, we need to work with Kenyan partners, and under them, and we need to work with Rwandan partners, and under them. And we need to work towards spillover countries. Our initiatives need to solve real and on-the-ground issues, and they need to be supported by research for development. So I'll leave you with this, and thank you for inviting me to speak at this important launch. If you need to contact us, our addresses are there, and I appreciate Rich and others' efforts to really work with us on this. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dawit, for that wonderful overview. I think you've showed exactly why you are so crucial in this project, you and your team, because of the insight, in all these different initiatives, and also your drive to connect things together and to make sure that we are developing something sustainable that really has impact. Is there anyone in the chat, anyone in the audience that would like to ask a question in relation to this presentation by Dr. Dawit? No? Okay. Well, Dawit, I'm happy that you also highlighted that we have to work with the designated partners in the countries. I think we made a start with that by having KALRO, Ethiopian Institute for Agricultural Research, and RAU in the team. Do you see that we are missing something, or do you advise us to connect to others as well, or is this the right entrance for the project?
Thanks. I think we have now within this project core countries. For us, Ethiopia, Kenya, as well as Rwanda are the core countries. I think we need to strengthen our effort, and we start producing as delivering, as you have said. But with the outputs in these countries can easily also, using this other big ticket items that we and others have, can be also really replicated, or can be also through our efforts, we can also reach out to these other countries. If you look, for example, ECRA, there is a specific project deliverable objective which says a product which has been developed in one sub-Saharan African countries should, in one way or the other, need to be replicated, or at least we need to reach out and create awareness around that product to other sub-Saharan African countries. And as such, we have a reach for Eastern African countries as well as Southern African countries, and will definitely help out when it comes to this, using the existing mechanisms and big ticket items. This is a small project, Rick, we need to highlight that one, but there are other big initiatives which can take the outputs from here and reach, and as such will definitely help out to that regard. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for highlighting that, and also thanks for mentioning that this is a small project. These days, a 7 million project we call a small project, but I think it's reality. And the ones that you were mentioning were much bigger. So we hope we can be somehow the oil in the engine of these bigger initiatives and push things a little bit further. It will not be the panacea to all the challenges that you mentioned, but of course we can give it a push. Okay, I see a hand raised by Enoch Warinda. You can come in. Enoch Warinda.
Yes.
Please.
Thanks. I'm Enoch. I'm from Aweke. I think that I've been following the discussion. And Solomon, thanks a lot. I know we are working together on the ICA thing. I just wanted to bring on the table that the essence of having organizations like Aweke, This is an organization mandated by the countries where all these projects are being implemented. And our refreshed mandate that focuses on coordination, convening, mentorship, making sure that there is a collaboration and brokerage of all manner of partnership need to really come out, because Aweke has been positioned and we are negotiating with the 1CG to make sure that we are the hub, we are the fulcrum that links all these countries. We work with the CGs, we work at the country level who've given us the mandate. So I think it is just important that we are here and we are working together as partners. And we want to make sure that our presence and our contribution really complements what the other international organizations are doing also in this project. So I just wanted to add my voice into that, given our unique mandate and position in the region. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much for that remark. And that's exactly also the reason why you are connected to this project as an organization. And Dawit, do you want to react to that?
No, absolutely. I think Aweke is a fantastic partner in the eastern side of Africa. Similarly, Dechasa is a similarly excellent partner when it comes to SADC countries in the Southern Africa. And on the other side, of course, KORAF is there. And I think ECRA works with this key partners, Aweke, Dechasa, and KORAF, and use them by the way, they do a much better and excellent work than what many of us are doing. And in fact, we are benefiting from what they're doing. And at least we can work together and reach out. In addition to that, of course, ICPAC, which is the Climate Prediction Center for IGAD is there, SADC CSC on the other side, this on the SADC, and of course, the AgriMet and others are there. So we definitely work with our partners in Africa and use them as our conduit to deliver. Thank you very much, Enoch.
Yeah, thanks, Dawit. Okay, you are supported by Ermias Betimariam from ICRAF. That spillover to other countries is important. Then there is a question from Dr. Uta Hayden. Uta is also partner in this project, or she's representing the German Aerospace Center. She's asking you, Dawit, is it planned to transfer learned lessons and achievements to the other regions as that you have shown in your presentation? Okay, we just discussed that. We discussed that.
Yes.
If your question is not properly answered, Uta, then you can come in. Let's have a look at Lee's question, perhaps a question for all. What are the plans to use the evidence generated in this project to present, influence UNCCD COP15 and upcoming UN FCCC COP? Whoa, that is not so easy for me, but it is something to reflect on. Dawit, is that something you can say something about?
Rick, I can probably make a remark and we can discuss this at a later stage. Our experience all the way is when there is a significant progress has been made, or if we choose otherwise to introduce this kind of major initiative. Because my hope and really interest in this is it's not just a one-off opportunity, but something which also really encompasses other Eastern and Southern Africa as well as Western African countries, is to organize a side event. And by piggybacking with major initiatives at the COP27 is in Africa. And as such, there's an excellent opportunity, I think, from this side to showcase, even if, the project ideas and all that, by piggybacking into some side events, or even have a booth where, CG and others are there and bring this. So there is an opportunity to strategize around this thing. We're currently doing a similar strategy for the 2021 African Climate Output Report, and as such, we similar discussions out there. So experience can be shared, Rick, and we'll strategize. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. I saw a hand up from one of my colleagues, but that hand went down, so I assume we can move on. Oh, a question from Nigussi Robi. The project is about establishing data hub on land, soil, and crops. How about data on livestock? Are data on livestock also implied by this title of the project, or are they excluded? Well, I'm not sure what would that mean, data on livestock, but we are not focusing on animals, but of course the land and soil information that is gathered here in this project can also have benefit to the livestock and the pastoral sector. I hope that is a good answer. You want to add something to that, Dawit?
No, absolutely. I think you have clearly articulated it. I think we're working on land, we're working on crop, and as such on a landscape level. And crops, of course, include boughs, fodder and feed as well as cereals. So for us, again, landscape, if you look both on the lowlands, agropastoral systems, but on the highland, it's a mixed cropping system. So there is, but to Nigussi's benefit at the moment, for example, when you look at Ethiopia, we are putting together with the New Zealand organization, clearly putting together data on on small ruminants and trying to integrate into the existing ARC data hub. So by bringing soil, by bringing landscape as well as crop and also information on the livestock side, our hope is that to put together this integrated national ARC data hub. But this project really indirectly, for sure, benefits the livestock sector. Thank you.
All right. So we are for sake of time, I would like to move on to the next part of the program. In the next part of the program, we will have contributions by the national institutes that are implementing this project together with us. But before we go there, I would also like to mention that there are two other partners in this project. They are both based in Wageningen. Under the umbrella of Wageningen University and Research. This is a big organization. We have two partners that are not presenting today because we wanted to have the focus on our African partners and on the implementers. But the Wageningen Center for Development and Innovation is working with us on the management of the project, but also on cross-cutting support. And Wageningen Environmental Research is working on the relation with the farmers. What I just explained when Irene Koman was asking this question, how can farmers profit from this kind of initiative? That is explicitly the task of Wageningen Environmental Research. So having said that, I would like to move on to our next speaker from Ethiopia. The speaker is actually representing the Deputy Director General for Research at the Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research, Dr. Diriba Geleti. But Dr. Geleti was not in a position to join us today, so he's represented by Professor Nigussi Dechasa, who was formerly at the Haramaya University and is now working at the Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research headquarters. Well, we know, of course, that there have been already a tremendous amount of initiatives on land and soil in Ethiopia, like EthioSys, but also Benefit Program, Realize Program. And we hope that this project can build on this. We are happy that you are here with us to highlight the significance of this project for your organization, Professor Dechasa, and also for your country. So the floor is yours. We don't see and we don't hear yet. Maybe you have to unmute. Actually, it's quite amazing that this is our first technical hiccup.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you. We cannot see you.
How about now?
No, not yet.
What's the video?
And the video is on.
It's already on. The video is on.
The host muted.
The host muted me. The host muted me.
Okay, what I propose to do, Professor Nigussi, as long as maybe you find out what the problem is from the technical perspective, we can move on to the next speaker and come back to you later. Is that okay?
It's okay.
Okay, so try to find out what the problem is. Then we are moving on to the next speaker from representing the Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization. Just checking if I'm not muted. And we are extremely happy to have Dr. Eliud Kireger in our midst. He is the Director General of KALRO. And we are really happy that you are with us today. We all know the long history between Wageningen and KALRO and before KARI, and especially the Kenya Soil Survey. We know that a lot of good people are working there, and also a lot of good work has been done. And personally, I'm very excited to have the chance to help to bring this work yet a step further. So Dr. Kireger, we hope you can highlight for us the significance of this project for Kenya and especially for KALRO. More than welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Please ignore my background, which is showing something else. It is technology glitches. So, distinguished delegates, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen, to those in East Africa. First and foremost, I would like to say that as an organization, we are very, very pleased that important role agriculture plays in the national economic development of many sub-Saharan countries. The performance of agriculture is faced with several challenges that make hunger and poverty persist despite efforts by various stakeholders to address them. The challenges have been severally documented in various documents, and they include declining productivity against an increasing population, environmental degradation, and inadequate technology application. Concerted efforts must be made to climate change by these countries.
Dr. Kireger, sorry.
It is worth noting that these agricultural research systems. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. Your sound is not coming through very clearly. Maybe it helps if you switch off the video, so all the bandwidth is used for your voice.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Let's see if this works better.
Okay. So it is worth noting that these challenges can be overcome through effective agricultural research systems. Research in agriculture is driven by societal demands in response to challenges of food security, sustainability, and resource efficiency and product quality. KALRO is one of the key public research organizations accountable to the government in leading agricultural research and technology development. KALRO, as you may be aware, was created through an act of parliament and is mandated to effectively contribute to the growth of the sector through science, technology development, and information. KALRO is guided by its vision, which is excellence in agricultural and livestock research towards transformed livelihoods. And its mission, which is to conduct agricultural research through application of science, technology, and innovation to catalyze sustainable growth and development in the agricultural and livestock sector. Being the lead agricultural and livestock research organization in the country, KALRO is obligated to provide demand-driven solutions to agricultural challenges locally, regionally, and internationally through cutting-edge research. Therefore, the organization not only focuses on addressing the national challenges, but also global challenges through partnerships, collaborations, and networking to generate technologies, innovations, and management practices. KALRO's research is aimed at creating agricultural resilience. One of the key areas of focus has been research on natural resource management, especially on soil fertility management. Under this, KALRO's partnership with the EU under the ISRIC, World Soil Information, and other partners, which started many years ago through Kenya Agricultural Research Institute, KARI. Through these partnerships, the capacity of the Kenya Soil Survey laboratories was strengthened, and products such as the soil and terrain database for Kenya was made available for public use and reference. Other initiatives through ISRIC are the African Soil Information Service, which allows one to get specific soils data at the national level, and the ongoing Soils for Africa project with KALRO coordinating the regional stakeholders. Given its strategic orientation, positioning, and focus, KALRO delivers its mandate through 5 key result areas. Some of the key result areas that connect very well to this project include key result area 1 on technologies and innovations for agricultural produce value chains to be generated, and KALRO's key result area 2 on knowledge, information, and technologies on agricultural products value chains to be collected, stored, and shared. Information dissemination is one of the key result areas for KALRO. This resonates well with the Dechasa strategy of putting more science in development projects, focusing on climate-smart agriculture by making relevant scientific information available to end users and building capacity at the level of the National Agricultural Research Institutes and also stakeholders. It is recognized that climate-smart agriculture is knowledge-intensive, and KALRO has been working to package its information in various forms to the specifics of various agroecologies and farmers' requirements. KALRO appreciates the collaborative opportunity to be part of this Land Crop Soil Information Service project and offers to participate by sharing its experiences, technical capacity, and infrastructure for the benefit of the agricultural stakeholders. The envisaged Land Crop Soil Information Service hubs will be important in serving farmers and strengthening the capacity of KALRO to meet the demands of the agricultural stakeholders. These hubs will facilitate the exchange of knowledge and also serve as feedback platforms for users, hence guiding research and information dissemination in climate-smart agriculture. KALRO has a network of national research institutes and centers, more than 60 of them, distributed nationally, and a pool of scientists slightly over 800, with 350 of them with PhDs, who will be instrumental in setting up the Soils Hub and management of the same. As an organization, we commit to support the research and development initiative of this project. I want to thank you very much for inviting us to make a presentation in this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kireger. After you switched off your camera, you were loud and clear, so we could very well hear you. And thanks for mentioning that this project, focus is really aligned with the focus areas of KALRO, and thanks for offering your participation as an institute with all the regional centers across the country, and with all that good people that are working there. Okay, is there any question from the audience for Dr. Kireger? Okay, I don't see any. Then thanks again, Dr. Kireger. I hope we meet soon to further discuss this project when traveling is permitted again. And I would like to move on to the next speaker. I'm looking also at Emily. Is Nigussi is ready to speak?
I believe so. Let's try again.
Okay, yeah. Okay, you can come in. I see you're coming from another computer, which is perfect. So the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Already have been introduced and I don't need to say it again. I would like to, I'm actually making this remark in place of Dr. Diriba Galati, the Deputy Director General of the Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research. He has also asked me to convey his apologies to you for not being able to make to this occasion. So on his behalf, I'm delighted to meet you virtually today on the occasion of the official launching ceremony of the Action, Land, Soil and Crop Information Services to support the climate smart agriculture. I would first like to thank also Professor van der Vorst for his invitation to this occasion. I would also first like to commend the presence of all participants. Ladies and gentlemen, the event that brings us together today makes me happy in a special way, since it touches on a subject dear to the work of the EIAR, namely promoting climate smart agriculture. The Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research is pleased that the European Union, International Soil Reference and Information Center, ISRIC, and Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs support us in our struggle to contribute to climate smart agriculture and rural transformation in East Africa in particular, by building national sustainable land soil crop information hubs at our organizations. Today, Wageningen Research has decided to launch the Action, Land, Soil and Crop Information Service to support climate smart agriculture, to qualitatively transform the data system in our countries. Ladies and gentlemen, in sub-Saharan Africa, smallholder farmers are the basis of agricultural production and food and nutrition security, contributing almost 80% of the food demand of the population, as well as being the main drivers of the economies of these countries. The contribution of smallholder farmers to food and nutrition security in Ethiopia could be as high as 95%. Agriculture also contributes to about 32% of the Ethiopia's gross domestic product, 84% of the total export, and 80% of the employment in the country. However, more often than not, little considerations are given to the immediate needs and conditions of smallholder farmers in their local environment when agricultural policies are formulated in sub-Saharan Africa in general. This is because smallholder farming is seen merely as a subsistence way of life, and the huge role it plays in food and nutrition security is often underestimated. This also leads governments to have low motivations to directly invest in the development of smallholder farming. This problem has contributed to stagnation in the agriculture sector and hardships of the farming communities in the subcontinent. What's more, smallholder farming is challenged by environmental degradation, vulnerability to climate change, and economic challenges. Millions of smallholder farmers in sub-Saharan Africa struggle with low income and malnutrition and have less access to assets, knowledge and technologies, market, credit, and institutions to improve their productivity. The EIAR was established about 55 years ago to improve the productivity of the agriculture sector of the country. Since its establishment, the institute has catalyzed the improvement of the agriculture sector through developing and promoting agricultural technologies and information. However, the demand for agricultural technologies is huge, given the enormous population of smallholder farmers in our country. Therefore, the institute needs to do more, particularly considering the current challenges that environmental degradation, climate change, and economic problems are posing to the growth of agriculture. I reckon that the institute has huge tasks ahead. However, it cannot carry out some of the most important tasks alone, and it needs to partner with local, regional, and international organizations. Thus, consorting with international, regional, and local partners is a vital means to achieve the mission of the institute. Thus, implementing the Action, Land, Soil, and Crop Information Service to support climate-smart agriculture exemplifies the institute's intent to diversify the means of achieving its objectives. Climate-smart agriculture is an important policy objective in our country, Ethiopia, and geared towards sustainable agriculture intensification, thereby increasing resilience of the production systems. It is important for enhancing productivity, resilience, and also for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and increasing sustainability. It is currently being implemented in the country as a whole. However, climate-smart agriculture policies are often not tailored to the local conditions of the smallholder farming communities. Climate-smart agriculture policies should fit the local environment and farmers' needs. For this purpose, context-specific quantitative and spatial data on land, soil, and crops are necessary. Although huge data have been generated on land, soil, and crop for decades in Ethiopia, the data cannot be accessed in an organized way and be used effectively in decision-making to implement climate-smart agriculture. What is more, there is no sense of data ownership by organizations as a whole. Therefore, the project being launched today to develop sustainable land, soil, crop information hubs in national agricultural research organizations is timely and pertinent, of course, to facilitate the exchange of knowledge and information among stakeholders. It's also gratifying to learn that Wageningen Research is providing the EIAR with an opportunity for developing the capacity of its human power while implementing this action by providing us with one PhD scholarship. As a whole, I would like to assure Wageningen Research that the EIAR will implement the project effectively and efficiently with mutually beneficial working relationships with the other partner organizations in East Africa and worldwide. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Nigussi. I think you have been spot on by explaining the importance of site specificness when we are talking about climate smart agriculture, and the need for landscape information, and also the need for having that information, fair, findable, achievable, interoperable, and reusable. And that is quite a challenge in many, many countries. So if you can still keep your video on, Professor Nigussi, because there may be some questions for you. in the chat. Well, thanks again for that wonderful address. It was spot on. And thanks for your support from the perspective of your institution. Any questions from the audience? Not really. Okay, that means that you have been extremely clear, I guess. And and once again, we look forward to working with you and hope that the situation allows to meet you soon in your country to further develop this project. Thanks again for your time. Okay, let me see then if we can move on to actually our first speaker from Rwanda, because in the second block we did not have someone from Rwanda. That's why we are extremely happy that we can now move on to Rwanda, to Dr. Jules Rutebuka from the Rwanda Agricultural Board. Dr. Jules is coordinator of the Rwanda Soil Information Service project funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and he's a key person in that project. Dr. Rutebuka is actually representing Dr. Charles Bugagu, who is the Deputy Director of General of the Rwanda Agricultural Board. And ISRIC and RAB are already partnering in this project that I just mentioned, the RWASIS project, Rwanda Soil Information Service. And we hope that this cooperation that we're talking about now today gives us a good opportunity to realize synergies between those two programs. So Dr. Rutebuka, the floor is yours. Can you come in? Yes.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you and we can see you loud and clear. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Presentation mode, that is even.
Yeah. Thank you very much for giving me this time. I'm going to present on behalf of Dr. Charles Buchagu, who is the Deputy Director General of Rwanda Agriculture and Animal Resource Development Board. And I'm very honored to represent him in this project launch. And dear Honorable Minister, dear high officials from embassies and governments, I'm going to give the remarks on the part of Rwanda and also of RAB about the Zero project we are going to work with as a team from different countries to contribute to climate smart agriculture and developing a land soil crop hub. Let me start with my first slide. As you can see, this is the LSC Hub is one of the agriculture transformation targets they have in 2024. But starting from a previous background of the agriculture sector in Rwanda, it's really an engine of overall economic growth of our country. And it's the main agree as the Minister of Agriculture is playing a role of transforming agriculture and make it more vibrant and more professional. Since 2004, they initiated different strategies and initiatives to one of them was CIP, which is Crop Intensification Program, which was to increase the production and productivity of our country, which is a small country and with hilly landscape, but we're still observing the problem of yield gaps and the variation in response of fertilizer and lime and different managements. In Rwanda, we have a problem also of fertility gradient, which is more and more declining. and the response on fertilizers and lime use is not really the way it is expected. More than of the country, 50% of the country area is more acidic with pH more than 5.5, let's say like that. And that's why we need to sustainably manage our land and increase our productivity based on the problems we have in our soil landscape. Also, in addition to soil fertility decline and acidity, we have also a problem of hilly landscape where we have too much erosion, very high erosion risk. And can imagine 90% of cropland is between 5 and 50% of slope gradients. So we need to develop a system that can help us to sustainably manage our land. This is one of the high hilly landscape in Rwanda, in the western part of Rwanda. It is Great Congo Nile side of the country. So from this background of the problems, the government of Rwanda initiated national agriculture policy, which has to play a role in food security and nutrition health and sustainable agriculture growth. So the mission was to ensure that food and nutrition security for all Rwandans using modern agriculture technologies and researchers, professionalizing farmers, and market-led agriculture. As I was saying before, since 2004, the country started with the agriculture transformation strategies. One was the first 2004-2008, which was SIP, crop intensification programs. By 2009-2012, the country has also another strategy, which is to increase rapidly agricultural output income from all group of farmers. By the time of 2013-2018, they also made another strategy to transform Rwandan agriculture from subsistence agriculture to market-oriented, value-creating sector or market-related agriculture. Currently, we are, since 2018-2024, we have a vision of increasing wealth and prosperity through agriculture sector. Therefore, in this 4 years, 2018-2024, we have what is called PSCF4, Strategic Plan for Agriculture Transformation, where it has 4 pillars. One of the main pillars is innovation and extension, which is fitting in our project, LS Hub or the Zero project. We have also productivity and resilience, including markets and value addition. Last, it is enabling environment and responsive institutions. You can see here the way they have to interact these 3 pillars. And the one it is the center, enabling the environment, policies, and the other responsive institutions, so that the strategy can be met in 2024 based on the target they have set in 2018. So these projects should also play a role to meet these 2024 targets of the government in the aspect of innovation, research, and extension. We are aiming by 2024 having at least 120 new crop varieties and animal breed development, but also initiating at least 400 innovative projects in different sectors, agriculture sectors, collaborating with farmers, universities, and different institutions so that we can play the end goal for innovation and research pillar. So the way we want to achieve is to acquire or to initiate innovative projects through different networks, which is Dechasa among others. Also look for innovation funds locally or internally. but also linking this research by the extension service model, which are existing from public and private sectors in the country. This PS24 is really playing a role in this. I want to link this project with the PS4 strategy we have in the country, where we're aiming at the integrated farming system and promoting climate smart agriculture and crop livestock integrations, and also remove the constraint of crop productivity related to soils and nutrient losses, acidity, and low organic matter. We also want to prioritize soil diagnostic, developing recommendations, local and site specifics, including fertilizer use and lime, but also gathering information in the system that can help end users, farmers, and other investors for the system, so that they can access all the information they want to boost their production. So these are the activities we have in this pillar 4, innovation extension, which is promoting integrated soil fertility technologies, conducting capacity building, innovation of research, and appropriate improved land management practices, promote climate smart and nutrition sensitive agriculture, but also playing the land use, efficient land use, and the consolidation. This is from this background I was explaining, since 2020, we initiated a project which is called Rwanda Soil Information Soil Information Service Project Initiative, that aimed to contribute to the soil landscape information, where we aim to develop site and soil crop-specific fertilizer recommendations, but also gathering information in relation to erosions in Rwanda. So, and lastly, all those information will have to be gathered in one system that can be user-friendly to all people, scientists, and farmers and investors. From this project, we have already started with soil mapping from legacy information that have been generated in the past in Rwanda. You can see we have all information about mapping, soil fertility nutrient maps, and also we are working on erosion aspect using some maps, but also the Rwanda Water Board, which is also another institution in the country, which is mandated for erosion, is also working on countrywide soil erosion risk assessment and erosion control strategies. All those have been collected in the legacy information, but in addition to that, the project RASIS also is working on soil fertility assessment, where we sampled around 2,900 points across the country soil sample, where we want to analyze the current soil fertility map on topsoil. We have concluded this part, and then we are in the process of analyzing all the information. Beside that, I was talking about analysis. The analysis should be done here in Rwanda, but also outside of the country for reference analysis, like in Nairobi and Glossoland in the US. And besides, we also conducting countrywide research trials for different crops, 6 commodities: rice, maize, potato, cassava, beans, and sorghum, beans, and 6 crops, bean and potato, where we establish different trials. In the country, we've already established around 839 research trials across the country. We are assessing soil fertility assessment and the response of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, but also lime response, fertilizer, and lime recommendations. All these information are being gathered in the project, but I can say, you can see here We have around, for fertilizer, 574 research trials across the country. And lime, we have 265 research trials in the country, using the protocols that we've been agreed with different partners. I think some of them are here in this workshop, where we want to develop fertilizer and lime recommendations. But all this data will be collected in the system, which is Rwanda SIS or Rwanda Soil Information, which is really a LS Hub. So in this aspect, the project, the Zira, will come in and to support the continuity of this research that are going on. You can see we are collecting all the data, and in the past, there are all different initiatives that have been done in the country by IFDC, by AGRA, by all the partners in the past. But all those that are not gathered in some way, but I kept with different people, we want to initiate a system, an architecture that have to support the country to gather all this information to web-based system, let's say like that, and people can access the information in the fair principle. This project is, the previous project I was talking about is funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, but now, which is about to complete by the beginning of next year. From the step we reach the collection of this information by Rwanda SIS and initiating the Rwanda special based information system, we also have the continuation of capacity building, developing models, and so that we expect from the Zira project. We have to support in the capacity building and management of the system. This, I think I've already said, which is capacity building of personnel in RAB, involving also different stakeholders across the country, even outside. We also expect in this Zira project to support also the aspect of data management guidelines, which have already started, but need to be more and more. Lastly, we have to hope that all this system, which is scientific-based system, should also have a certain link with extension services so that can reach farmers in a good way. In the country, we have what is called SNS, which is Smart Nkunganire System. It is an extension system, a digital-based system, which has all the database of all farmers and agro dealers in the country. All this information we have LSC Hub should have been linked to the SNS system that can help them to get information to farmers. In addition on that, I think all the technologies we have, forms, messages, and the application can be also developed in this Zira so that the information can reach to any end users easily with support of this project. Thank you very much. Vedant Mrakus.
Well, thanks a lot. Jules, Dr. Rutebuka, bedankt also for your contribution. And you know, it's nice to see that you highlighted, you know, the match of this project with the national legislation and the national priorities in this PSTA4 program. I also like what you said is the need for spatial information to support, in your case, integrated soil fertility management and to develop site and crop specific fertilizer use recommendations. I noticed that you really highlight that we have to continue and build on the efforts that are already done in the RWASIS project, and which is absolutely what we need to do. There's no discussion about that. So we are also extremely happy that we have found a possibility to continue working with you and bring this again a step further. last week, one of my colleagues was with you to give almost a full week of training. So, you know, that is the spirit that we want to keep and continue working with you. So thanks for highlighting that. But you also said something about, you know, the link with the extension services. And that is also important. And it's actually a bit a part of the project that is not so highlighted today, but there is definitely a full work package on how we can work with farmers, groups of farmers, extension service that are very close to those farmer communities, and how these people can work with these kind of data sets. Well, we don't have time to dive into that now because we are getting to an end, but let me see what is in the chat for you, Jules. Great linkage between the RWASIS and the Dechasa projects. RWASIS as exit strategy for RWASIS and RWASIS is a good entry point for the Dechasa project. So Elias is supporting that link. How are you planning to kickstart implementation of the LSC Hubs project in Rwanda? When do you plan to do this? That's probably, yeah, that's from Asareka, probably one of your countrymen. Can you reply to that? Julian Barungi asked that question. Jules, the question is...
Okay. Yeah, I can see Julian is asking about how are you planning to kickstart implementation of LSC Hub project in Rwanda? When do you plan to do this? Yeah, I can say that we already have all the documents to start the project. We have all the clustered project activities to Rwanda. We have all discussed and worked closely with Andre. In addition to that, now I can even say that Charles, the Deputy Director Charles, was also, we discussed in the morning that the agreement should be also signed as soon as possible because we delayed a bit, but now by end of this week or last week, next week, definitely on next week, the agreement will be signed on behalf of RAB and then sent to our collaborators. We hopefully that's the project we have to start as soon as possible by, let's say, March, and start connect with what is the gap between the gap which is not in the RWASIS that can be assigned to the Dechasa project. We already know the gap, which is really more related to the capacity buildings and gaps. And we have already discussed when Andre was here in Rwanda to link with some of the technologies that have been worked with CIAT for, linking farmers to the findings from scientists, where of different technologies. We hopefully that Rwanda by March, everything will be ready.
Okay. Thanks for that answer. Maybe you can look at the question from Lee from ICRAF Kenya.
Yeah. Lee is already saying what we are doing now. ICRAF team is here in Rwanda starting to support this part of laboratory analysis I was talking about. Yesterday, we've already started to install the equipment here in Rwanda, RAB, and soon we'll also start the analysis of those samples using spectroscopy, but also we planning to send by probably the end of this month, about let's say in 2 weeks, the reference sample to Nairobi to analyze wet chemistry and dry chemistry. I think all this information will help us to the next step of RWASIS, but also, I can say that LSC Hub or RWASIS, we are thinking maybe in the Ministry of Agriculture changing the name. That's because the system will be a countrywide system. We are thinking about to develop a system. We've already started with the Ministry of Agriculture to establish what is called the Agriculture, Land and Soil Crop Information System that has to accommodate all the information they have in the Ministry of Agriculture, but also different partners and stakeholders in the country. We developed a terms of reference for the consultants to develop a IT-based system. I think that's one also that ISRIC will have to play in a big role to provide the inputs and the skills, because I know most of the people, Ethiopia, they have already started setting up such like of the system of LSC Hub. I'm not sure if they've completed, but this is what we aim at in Rwanda, to have a really system which is dynamic, just not only keeping data in somewhere, but that can have an open access. If there are other information that can be added or completed, will be also collected a long time. Dynamic, it's a dynamic system we want.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for that explanation.
Yeah. Also asking if I have we really have a strong program here of liming acidic soils in Rwanda. We started also, before it was subject for fertilizer, but currently also lime is also subsidized in Rwanda, 50% of the price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. And of course that work that ICRAF is doing on capacity building in the field of spectroscopy is absolutely crucial in feeding these information systems. So I'm really happy that Lee mentions that, and we need to stay in contact. All right. For sake of time, I would like to bring this meeting to an end. I want to thank everybody who contributed in terms of the speakers, but also those who have been participating. We really hope that we have informed you about the purpose of this project and the impact that we anticipate to achieve. And we hope that we have prepared the ground for a shift implementation. The lead time has been tremendous, and we would like to really move on now and start with the real work. So I expect to see project team members active and connecting in very, very short notice, a very short time. And we will be reaching out and working together with many of you in the audience. So if you have more questions, please go to our website, send us an email. We are there to reach out and to work with you. The most important thing is that we are, building on existing initiatives and connecting to the ongoing bigger programs, as was explained earlier today. So stay in contact. I all thank you for participating, and I wish you a very good rest of the morning and a very good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.